do we actually believe in what we're doing? Do I believe in what the Lord has called me to do? I agree. I would never put something out that I'm not proud of, but I think what's paralyzed me over time has just been the need for it to be perfect. It is with this filmmaker, Jesse Driftwood and Levi Allen. They are both filmmakers and both prominent YouTubers in the kind of the film YouTube space. But they started this podcast as a way to kind of explore the tensions of being an artist and being somebody that's kind of popping out content all the time and kind of required to in this day and age of being a quote unquote content creator, which is kind of a bleh term. Anyways, so I'm going to play this. It's at 1.5 speed so that I don't get in trouble from the YouTube overlords or anybody else for streaming it. But I'm going to play this part. So what they've done up to this point is they've kind of talked through the idea of just like needing to have ideas, always needing to have ideas and always needing to execute on these ideas. But now they're about to get into this really interesting part about like marketing their ideas and how they feel about them. So I'm going to play this.
This is where I just wish that we had more room for nuance here, because I don't think I don't spend a whole lot of time stressing for more viewership. It's not the priority thing where I'm like, man, if only I had twice as many subscribers. Yeah. Like we were talking about milestones on the way here and things that we are like looking forward to, and at least for me, there's milestones that I wanted to hit that I've hit. Yeah, same. So in some sense, like box checked, cool. But then when we get to it on a video by video level,
so they're talking about milestones that they want to hit overall
there's this weird thing that we're like,
as creators.
If you don't want someone to see the thing that you spent time on, is it not worth someone's time to watch? And those are right hand in hand. Yeah. Because if you believe that it's worth, like if you believe the time you invested into the thing you made is worth anyone's attention ever, if it's worth one person's attention, then you should, and if you believe that that's going to like benefit them in any way, because that's why we're uploading it for someone to see, because they're hoping that it adds something to their experience. They enjoy it, they laugh from it, they're entertained by it, they find themselves wanting to go make, like if that is what you think about what you're putting out into the world, there is some sense of a responsibility of like, hey, I found this really cool waterfall, I want other people to see it too.
So that's the point that I think is really, really interesting and both convicting and just helpful for me to know that I'm not alone when thinking about that. So what he's essentially saying is, if I've made a good thing, if I've spent a lot of time on this thing, why do I have such an issue spending time putting that out? Or why do I have such an issue talking about that thing? And he uses the kind of imagery and analogy of a waterfall, right? Why do I struggle if this waterfall is so cool and so great and I work to take like the perfect picture of it? Why do I struggle to go, hey, look at this cool thing that I made, or hey, look at this cool thing that I found? And man, when he said that, I really resonated with it, because as a Enneagram 4, I feel all the things. I'm often very insecure about things. Even if something's really cool and I spent a lot of time working on it and crafting it and mixing it as a musician or like editing it, a video or whatever, like I'll put it out. I'll just put it out into the world, or maybe I won't put it out into the world, and then just not only be crushed when it doesn't do well, but I'll struggle to like tell people about it. And I think a lot of this is because we think, self-promotion is kind of gross and just isn't great. But I think a lot of it too comes down to kind of insecurity. Like, do we actually believe in what we're doing? And for me, that's a convicting question. Do I believe in what I'm doing more? And then as a Christian, these guys aren't even Christians. And as a Christian, do I believe in what the Lord has called me to do in the music that I make, the videos that I make, the content that I put out onto the internet? Like, do I actually believe in it? And I think as artists, we have to ask our question this. Like, if we're having a really hard time kind of promoting our content, we need to look deeper into ourselves and say, hey, like, is that because I feel like I'm doing it in a weird kind of salesman-y way, or is it because I actually don't believe in it? And that might be a hard question for me to answer anyways. How about you? Do you feel that way? Do you sit there and as you're making something or trying to promote something, you say, I'm just not so sure about promoting this or thinking through this because I'm not sure it's worth it? Part of why I'm doing this is so that I can kind of show up and kind of share how I think through these things. And if I'm being honest, I'm not great at this. I'm not great at thinking through whether the art that I make is like worth it. In fact, one of my goals this year is to put out more music And even as I think about the goal and sit down as I'm writing, just the enemy comes in. And I really do think it's the enemy, especially as Christians, as we're dealing with like putting out gospel-centered art into the world. I do think there's a tension there where the enemy doesn't want that to happen. In the war of art, they called it the resistance, and I think it's the very same thing where you struggle to say, even just sit down and do the thing, whether it's worth doing. And so, yeah, for me, I struggle with this a lot. I think one of the ways I kind of battle it is by doing this stuff, just saying like I'm showing up and I'm doing it even if it's terrible, even if no one's watching, and no one's commenting, I'm going to do it and I'm going to be here. And part of that is just like faithful following. And I talk about this in the song that people seem to be enjoying, Look, where it's like, could being faithful actually be thriving? So as an artist, to thrive, to be faithful to what we're doing, is that actually just faithfully showing up and making the stuff that the Lord has called us to make? And then we have confidence in just like having at-bats. We just make stuff, we put it out faithfully and hopefully honoring to the Lord, and then see what happens. And I know that's contrary to like a lot of my artist friends. They would say, oh no, like it needs to be like crafted and perfected because art matters. And I agree. I would never put something out that I'm not proud of. But I think what's paralyzed me over time has just been the need for it to be perfect or the need for it to be flawless, which doesn't exist. Hey, thanks for watching that clip. That clip is from what we are calling open sessions, which is an extended version of our live streams when we go live. So if you don't get a chance to tune in live, I strongly encourage you to head over to our Patreon, where we put all of those live streams unedited, uncut, for you to enjoy, along with things like memos and meditations, which is devotional content, music that we're working on. You'll get songs before anyone else. You'll get discounts. You'll get a bunch of cool stuff, all going towards what we're trying to do, which is create to bring glory to the Creator. So thank you so much for your support. Again, head on over to Patreon to join the crew, and we'll see you next time.